Hey, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. Glad you could join us. Today is a rhythm guitar episode, and in this episode, we're going to be giving you a series of exercises to help you understand note placement in relation to the beat. And what we're going to do is have you play chords and play very specific rhythmic patterns. All right? So let's just get right to it. And be sure to like and subscribe to Outsmart Your Guitar along the way. As some of you know, I am a multi-instrumentalist. I don't just play guitar. I play drums, piano, and bass. And I've played these three other instruments for decades now. I'm not necessarily amazing at them, but I play them and I play them fairly well, to such a degree that as a drummer and as a bass player, I've been out and done gigs in those capacities and maintained my skills pretty well over the years. Well, at one point, a friend of mine who's also a drummer turned me on to a course by a guy named Benny Greb. You may have never heard of Benny Greb. If you have, awesome. Well, he's a phenomenal drummer. And this course that my friend gave me lays out a whole series of exercises. Now, for your sake, it's the very first series of exercises that got my attention that these would really be good to share and adapt to playing rhythm guitar. So that's exactly what I've done, and that's what this series is all about. It's a two-part series, by the way, so this is part one. I'm going to walk you through these exercises and help you understand just how critically important it is to understand note placement. The exercises will reinforce that, and some of them are really going to challenge you. But it's well worth it, and I want you to take the challenge and run with it. Okay? So, let's go. Before we begin the actual exercises, I need to clarify a couple of things here. While a couple of exercises use quarter notes, which would be just straight downstrokes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Most of the exercises employ eighth notes or 16th notes, or a combination of the two. In accomplishing these exercises, you will be employing the steady state principle. You've probably come across this term in other lessons that I have. And the understanding is just basically your picking hand is in constant motion. So for eighth notes, you're doing the beat as a downstroke and the end of the beat as an upstroke. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? For 16th notes, it's double quick. And so you're doing the beat and the and as downstrokes and the E and the as upstrokes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and just like that. All right? So bear this in mind as we walk through the exercises. You'll also notice that through all exercises, I include all picking direction as well. I forgot to mention, you're going to need a metronome. Absolutely. Now, I want you to have a metronome that plays a monotone. No high tone for the first beat, to highlight the first beat. Strict monotone. Now, you can play a simple 5 chord. And I want you to do it up here on the fretboard, not down in first position, because some of the exercises will require muting. And you can mute these better than those. You have more control. Okay, so as you see, the first exercise is quarter notes. So start your metronome, and what you can do is get yourself in sync by playing like this. And then once you're in sync, play the chords. Now, here's the challenge. Do this for 5 minutes. I know what you're thinking. That's a long time. Yes, it is. But why 5 minutes? I chose 5 minutes because the songs you play run generally around 3 to 5 minutes in length, maybe longer. And you want to be able to maintain good timekeeping skills. So where you're not speeding up or slowing down, but maintaining a steady tempo. So you do this for 5 minutes to drill it into your head and your thinking and your ability to play steady tempo for 5 minutes. Don't gloss this over. This is critical stuff. I thought about this, and it really is important. To maintain good timekeeping skills, you have to do things to make sure that you can keep a tempo steady for the duration of a song. And then you're going to have to do it for the next song you play and the song after that. So 5 minutes is not unusual for an exercise to help you maintain good timekeeping skills. So pause the video and play through this for about 5 minutes with the metronome. And pay attention. Are you drifting off the beat, getting a little ahead of it or a little behind it? That's what you need to be paying attention to as you play through this exercise. Before we begin this exercise, I want to point out the 2 pick strokes, strum strokes that are in parentheses. Those are ghost strums. You'll notice the note is a dotted 8th note, and we're playing 16ths now. So the beat is 1, and then you have the picked note, which would be E. You have the and showing in parentheses, letting the note ring out for the full 3/16 of the first beat. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and like that. Okay? So the beat strokes are muted. So you palm mute, just slide your palm across the strings on the beat stroke. All right, here it is. Get yourself in sync. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so forth, right? So that's what you want to do. And I encourage you to count out loud. And if you need to slow it down, I was playing at 65 beats a minute for this one. If you need to slow it down, do just that to get your picking hand under control and playing correctly, taking the 16ths, 1 E and getting this evened out, right? That's part of the point here. Okay, so pause, walk through this exercise, and really pay attention to whether you're drifting or not. And again, as with any lesson, if you need to rewind to listen to the explanation and demonstration, go for it. This is what is cool about this medium. You can do that. All right? 5 minutes. Just want to drop in here real quick and tell you that the full version of this lesson is over at patreon.com/outsmartyourguitar. The link is down in the description. Go on over. You can join for free and have access to a number of lessons which will include the written material. Then you can become a full patron by subscribing at one of 3 levels and gain access to a whole host of material that is not featured here, expanded versions of material that is featured here, and all written lessons for every lesson that features them. So check it out and become a patron to outsmart your guitar. All right, back to the lesson. This exercise is probably going to be very familiar to you just on the basis of the fact that there are some songs that use this rhythm. Now, what is the rhythm? All right, so you mute the beat and then play the and. mute the beat, play the end. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you can mute here and you can mute with a palm mute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It kind of is a double insurance that you'll mute those strings. So I'm at 65, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. As you can see, pretty straightforward, but you need to pay attention to whether you're drifting, speeding up or slowing down. That's why the metronome and why you want to count out loud, paying attention all the while. Again, I'm going to reiterate this endlessly. 5 minutes. Do this for 5 minutes. Absolutely. And if you want to do it with the guitar unplugged, you can do that. And that way you won't be driving your roommates, wife, husband, or neighbors crazy when you're doing this for 5 minutes. But you do it to the metronome nonetheless and count out loud. All right? This exercise, you are muting for 1 E and then playing and right? 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Pretty straightforward stuff, right? So get that down before bringing in the metronome. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Another cool rhythm, all right? So pause, take your time, get this down. And again, I keep reiterating this, don't worry about the tempo. Quality of execution is more important than speed, because when you get it down at a slower tempo, which actually requires more precision than a faster tempo, then getting it up to speed in a given situation beyond where you learned it will be a simple matter of just progressing your way up in the tempo. But along the way, always ensuring that you are doing your technique correctly to play the parts properly. Okay? So pause, take your time getting this down, then you know the drill, 5 minutes. Here's an easy one for you, but don't be deceived, it still has its challenges. Now we're just playing beat and, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so you pretty much do this a lot in a lot of your playing. So it should be familiar, but put it to the metronome now and check out your timing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. The object here is, can you do this for 5 minutes without speeding up or slowing down appreciably? Okay, you want to keep steady time. So this is the challenge. Meet the challenge and play this steady rhythm for 5 minutes, the best you're able, without speeding up or slowing down, but staying right on the money. As you can see, these are challenging exercises, and this is just part 1. Part 2 is coming up with some more challenging exercises for you. The real challenge is being able to play these for 5 minutes against a metronome to make sure that you are keeping your timing from speeding up and slowing down. This creates steady timekeeping skills, which you need when you are performing, because you're playing song after song after song. Every song has its own tempo, and you need to be able to maintain that tempo throughout. It isn't just the drummer's job to keep the band in tempo. It is every musician's job to know how to keep good time, to help the greater whole keep time properly, thus making the song sit in the pocket and groove the way it's supposed to groove, right? Okay, so take your time with these. Don't jump out on it. Don't gloss over it. Do each exercise for 5 minutes as a personal challenge to help you improve your rhythm skills. And then you'll be ready for part 2. We'll see you there.